So I will put the recording here.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So welcome to the space.
Yeah.
Today we're here with Dan. We're going to talk about the Food System Innovation Project.
Uh-huh.
And so if you wouldn't mind, I'll try to explain to you a little bit about what's going on in that space, right? And so when you have signed up for this program, the thing, what to expect going on, right? So the idea is that we will meet online once a week for 6 weeks. And every meeting will be roughly 1 hour, something like that. And before you join those meetings, we'll create small groups of 4 to 6 people in those meetings. And prior to coming into those meetings, there'll be a survey to fill out. That survey has a purpose of doing some self-reflection. That's, let's say, not a requirement to fill out, but it's a really good idea, because that also gives me as a facilitator the opportunity to figure out, okay, where are people? If they have any questions, I have a chance to then prepare the meeting and get the most optimal flow in the meetings, having a better understanding of each of the participants, right? So I know it's not for everybody who fancy filling out surveys, and so if that is a complete energy drain, please don't do it, right? But at least it will be a good idea to sit with the frictions while you go for a walk in nature and consider that. How does that feel to you?
Oh, interesting. Feels good. Yes.
Because this is a program where, let's say, what you put into it is also what you take away, right? We have a saying here in this program that this is a half-baked cookie, right? So it's up to the participant how they would like to finish their cookie, how chewy or how crispy they want it. So that's where the participants, their participation, their involvement, their commitment, that really has something to say in what becomes the result of joining, right?
Yeah.
And so in the meeting, what we do, the first meeting is all about connecting, right? We have people coming in from all over the world. And so it's simply about connecting and sharing in this meeting, part of what we asked you to reflect upon. Where are you, in this case, for the Food System Innovation Project? Where are you in the food system, right? What's your role in that? What's your, let's say, what's the state of the world according to you, right? And so we'll simply be sharing these aspects and getting a feel for what's going on in each other's space, right? Okay.
Okay.
Then we normally would also do a breathing exercise. We are all in these virtual spaces, and people come from a meeting and enter to this space and go on to another meeting. There's 1,000 things going on. And so we have this costume of just doing a simple exercise of breathing and just settling into this space. It's rather important, that thing, about being present. Because we've had some participants, they had this idea, or they could just turn off the camera and then they could go and do other things while they are listening with half an ear,
Yeah.
And so for this experience here to be a good experience for everybody involved, it's rather important to be present, and so that's not just for you, but also for the other participants, because it is a group effort of creating this space where we connect with each other. So that's just to explain a little bit about the culture that we do in these meetings, right?
Yes. Okay.
And then we go around and we share what would be the worst possible outcome that you could possibly imagine happening in this experience, and maybe also what could be the best possible outcome, right? Is these little things, just get it out there. I mean, what could be the worst nightmare that you could imagine could happen, and just share that with each other. It's actually a funny exercise, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
And then once you join this program, you will also be invited into our space that we call our Friendly Friday. This is beyond the program, and it's a voluntary space, but it's a good space to get to know each other on a less formal note, so to say, right? And we've had this experience from all the previous cohorts that once the program ends, people miss a way of staying in contact. And so we created this space that we call the Friendly Friday, where people who have time, they can show up and get to connect and share what's going on in their lives, and keep building these connections and relationships even further. So by participating in this program, you'll get access to that space where it's possible to connect with previous members and current members of this program.
Yeah.
Then after the meeting, you'll be invited to get in touch with me or the other facilitator for your group, to stay in contact one-on-one, right? Sometimes there's issues that we may not want to share openly, publicly, right, in a group. And
Sure.
there can be questions, and it's a really good idea to reach out, actually, simply just to create that connection and clarify any questions you might have. So just let's say if we are meeting online for 6 weeks, it would be a bummer to wait with your questions until the end of the program, right?
Right.
Get into it right away, and then we'll kick it off much better and much faster, and you'll start to be comfortable in this space much faster. So it's a really good idea to reach out and connect with your facilitator in that first week.
Sounds great.
Any questions so far, or do you have anything you would like to clarify maybe in this space? If you had to join this program, what would you be thinking? Or
Well, one of the things I would be thinking is about being supported. It sounds like a very supportive environment, and that seems like something that I would be looking for, and I think a lot of people would. The challenges that we have these days is tough, regarding the environment and our food system and our society altogether. So to have a space where you can come and share and be supported, that's a big deal.
Right.
That's a big deal.
And and this is what we experience as well, that people are really happy to find their people, right? Like-minded people, and we are all very different, right? I mean, there's big differences from all the participants, but we have this common thing that we really would like to help the planet, regenerate the soil. We're talking about health, climate, these things. It's something that we have in common.
Yeah.
But that thing about the support, we have this idea, in this program, to go beyond our comfort zone, right? The purpose is to go out and have a curiosity conversation with a stakeholder in the system. That could be a farmer, that could be where you buy your groceries. It could even be the truck driver, he's also a part of the food system, right? And the point is to go out and connect with somebody that we don't know. And in our experience, that brings up a lot of friction in many people, because simply how to reach out, is the appropriate way to go and knock on the door, or is that, crossing boundaries for somebody? Is it to write an email or to call by the phone? And what if they turn me down? What if they don't want to see me? And if I go there, maybe I screw the whole thing up, right? It's
Yeah,
possible. It happens, you know, or there's simply just the person on the other side is just totally, you know, gets it wrong, totally down the wrong throat. And
yeah,
so all of this is causing friction, right?
yeah.
And in this program, we actually celebrate friction.
Mm,
It might be a little weird to to look at it like that, but it's actually a blessing in disguise, because it carries with it a growth opportunity, right? Because we
mm,
found something that made us uncomfortable, and if we could actually overcome that discomfort, it means that we would be expanding our possibility, our growth for interacting in the world, right?
yeah.
And so we
Hmm.
have different ways and techniques for going about that, but basically, just sharing it out loud in this space, maybe there's somebody else sitting with exactly the same, right?
Yes, that sounds good.
And so that's the idea, you know, that we go beyond our comfort zone and get some experiences, and just like you said, we are here to support each other.
Mm. And that's very unusual to, I think most of us, myself included, we tend to want to know how things are going to turn out.
Mhm.
We want to stay in our comfort zone. We want to do things we've done before, and even to have conversations with somebody you don't know is, uh, for some of us, certainly, maybe even most of us, especially about something that is personal and meaningful. That's a challenge. We don't normally do that. And as a result, we just sort of stay with ourselves,
Right. It
so that sounds good.
at least it's so much easier to stay with just the people that you like or agree with, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
because it becomes uncomfortable, let's say, if we reach out to somebody that we don't like or
Yeah.
disagree with, or you know,
Right.
and it very often becomes this confrontation, you know, I am right and you're wrong. and
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't really lead to much progress, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and so the idea in this program is actually that, you know, we start practicing these skills of going out, having a curiosity conversation, and holding back our own agenda,
Mm-hmm.
um, and leading with love and building on the positive. All these fancy ideas we try to put into practice, okay? But first, I would recommend we do that with somebody that we, let's say, admire or are in favor of on some level, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
once we're comfortable with how the whole setting is running, let's then challenge ourselves, right? Go out and connect with somebody that we are neutral about, right? We
Yeah.
just don't know them. We don't have any particular in favor or against. We are simply there being curious about what's going on in their space. Maybe it's a farmer, they're cultivating in a different way. I don't know anything about permaculture, to say like that. It gives me the opportunity to learn what's going on and what's it like to be a farmer,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're a manager of a restaurant, I mean, where do you source your food? I have no idea about how that whole world is functioning. It gives me an opportunity to really learn, okay? And then
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, the goal of the program is that we hope that participants will repeat and repeat, and then finally, maybe later, feel, oh, now I'm ready to actually reach out to somebody that I disagree with, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you are in favor of organic farming, and now maybe it's time to reach out to a GMO farmer or just a conventional farmer, or, you know, somebody that's you would normally disagree with, right? And
Right. Yes. Yes.
The idea again is, you know, it's not about your agenda. It's not about the outcome that I want that other person to change.
Mm-hmm.
That would create some vibes and some chemistry in that meeting that would cause crossed arms, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's about if you can actually see the benefit in understanding what's going on in the mind, in the world, what are the values and what are the positive things that a GMO farmer is contributing today. And that may be
Mm-hmm.
hard to see, but that's the challenge, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I'm not saying that this is any bit easy at all, and that's why we recommend it's something we practice. And once you've done that and you become comfortable with this, you know, you can bring these techniques to your private life. You can bring that to your workspace. You can bring it so many other places where I think, let's say, everybody would benefit if we learn to have this space where we are not, let's say, crashing against each other.
Yeah. So it seems that this is about building relationships. It
Yeah.
seems like it's not about promoting my own personal agenda, which I certainly do. It's about letting that, you know, have its own space, but not making that the focus of the relationship. So that's an approach that's pretty unusual, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that this program is a little weird. It's at least a little different from most other programs I've known, and
Yeah.
that's what we hear people say as well. So just
Mm.
if you enter this program, just don't expect things to be as usual.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think that's a fair warning.
Well, I think most of us are at least somewhat aware that there's a need for something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doing the same thing, staying in our comfort zone, you know, our food system the way it is, you know, has got us to a bad place. And I think really this notion that really looking at the relationships. I mean, there's of course millions of relationships in our food system. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And you know,
Yeah.
that thing that we want to see a change, okay? I
Mm.
do believe that if we reach out to that opponent, so to say, let's say just for sake of simplicity, we reach out to a GMO farmer, right?
Mm.
If we can have a conversation, let's say half an hour or an hour, where we hold back our own agenda,
Mm.
only being there asking questions, authentically curious questions about what's going on in his world, what is the value that he is contributing so far, and expressing gratitude for his effort, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what that might be, right? I
Mm.
mean, he is running a fourth generation farm or um, creating a lot of food for a lot of people, um, a home for his family, etc. That's something to appreciate that effort, right? Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Imagine you've had somebody talking to you like that, feeling at the end of that communication or that conversation that you have been seen or heard, right? Because I'm
Mm.
there to listen to you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if I could express that, wow, thank you for what you're doing so far. If you
Yeah.
feel
Mm.
seen, heard, valued, appreciated, stuff like that, now there's a chance you might be curious about what's going on in my world, right?
Mm. Uh-huh.
And so it actually seems to open up that space where how now you could actually ask me some questions, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, would be beneficial for everybody, right?
And I think a lot of people would find that refreshing. You
Mhm.
know, people are so used to confrontational, conversations and uh,
Yeah, that's the social media, right? The whole
yeah, yeah,
set up to drama.
right, right. To
Mm.
try to drive your own point home, to have somebody who actually wants to listen to what you have to say, that's refreshing.
Mhm.
It is to me, the
Right.
idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Not to say it's easy, and that's why we we practice, and that's
Yeah.
why all the friction or the discomfort that we uncover doing this program, we
Hmm.
help each other out with that, so you're not
Mm.
alone in this program.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like to go on and try to explain some of the other meetings, what's going to happen, so you have an idea of the flow of what's going to happen in the program. Is that okay?
Sure. Okay.
All right. So we have also a hub in Mighty Network where the different participants in these programs go and present themselves. This
Mm.
is about creating more network, more connections. And so if we in those spaces go and present ourselves, you get access to so and so many other people who've gone through this program before you. You can go
Mm.
there and check their stories and see what they learned from going through the program previously.
Mm.
Um, and then there'll be another survey where we would try to define now, who would you like to connect to? Is it a farmer? Is it a restaurant? Or who would you actually like to connect with in this program? So
Mm.
trying to get specific. And before the next meeting, you'll also have access to some material that will help you. Let's say you are in doubt about how to articulate an email, how to hold these conversations. All these materials that describes how to go about it, you'll get access to, okay?
Yes. Mm.
Then in the meeting itself, once again, we'll connect with each other, we'll do the breathing, and then we'll go out into breakout rooms, 2-on-2 in the breakout rooms, and try to hold this curiosity conversation between you and another participant. Simply
Mhm.
put it into practice and be curious about what's going on in that other person's space. And we come
Yeah.
back, we share what that was like, and we like to close with gratitude. And
Mm.
so that was the second meeting. And maybe now it's time, if you after that meeting would like to reach out again to your facilitator, if you're having friction, we could sit with that friction and find that support that you need, okay?
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
in between this and the third meeting, once again, go to the hub, um, just share who you would like to reach out to, and just to keep building the what's unfolding during this time we are together.
Mhm.
We'll have a survey again. We'll ask you about what's the friction that you've experienced so far. And once we come back to the meeting, we'll now celebrate that friction.
Good.
Because if you actually found some friction, it's a good idea to, celebrate. Just like that reaction right now, it loosens up,
Right.
you know. So that's actually quite intentional, but it has such a good benefit for everybody, right? So we'll
Mm.
share our progress, and we'll go out into the breakout rooms again. We'll keep practicing with one another. We learn. Now we had time to I didn't keep curiosity last time. I wasn't building on the positive. I was in my own agenda and started commenting on what the other person ought to do. We now practice one more time. Uh,
Uh-huh.
so, so, so this is what we do, right? And
Yeah.
and, and then we take towards the end. What's the action steps that we can do this time? Is it time to reach out? Have you written to somebody? Have you called somebody, etc.?
Mm.
Okay. And so by now people start to know each other, and so some people would like to hang around. And if they don't have any busy agenda, we just keep chatting and connecting, and it's such a wonderful atmosphere.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sounds great.
Then between meeting number 3 and meeting number 4, it's time to go out and have that curiosity conversation, right? Hopefully by now we have set up that conversation, and let's go out, try it out, right? And if you haven't been able to connect with a farmer or a restaurant or somebody, you haven't got a reply so far, maybe you could connect with one of the previous members of the program. I know they are very happy to share and connect, and it will be an opportunity to tap into what was the experience like for them. We
Sounds good.
go to the hub again, we share what that experience was like, if there was any friction that we experienced, as another survey. And this time we are now starting to put a mindset about, what is the story that's unfolding here? What are your experience? What are you learning? What is something we could tell other people about? So starting to create this idea about, okay, what could we bring to the world, so to say, by telling our story? And then we come back to the fourth meeting, and we celebrate the progress, or if this was a whole procrastination whatsoever, we celebrate that as well. Okay. And then we once again we start to talk about what could be a way to take some action for making things happen. Okay.
Sounds good. Yes.
Now then we have the fifth meeting, and before that, it's really important that we now start to also give some feedback on what your experience was like. Let's say you had friction about filling out surveys and stuff like that. It's really important that you let us know any suggestions to where we could improve. Okay. And so the fifth meeting is quite different, because we'll come into the meeting and we'll share our experience so far. Did you reach out to the restaurant? What was it like? What have you learned from this program so far? That could be a personal story. It could be something you learned from meeting with the farmer. It could be, let's say, life learnings in general. Okay. Just share whatever so far was in your space participating. And then we'll hear from the other participants what they hear in your story. Okay. That's actually curious, because I have an idea about this could be a story that I could tell, right? But other people hear different nuances and different perspectives. And wouldn't it be amazing if you could actually express this or that thing about what was going on? And you see, most people, they say, oh, I don't have anything to share, right? Because I was turned down, it turned out bad, so I don't have anything to share. But actually, that is something to share that's really important. So people coming after you, having the same experience, could see, hey, I'm not the only one. Somebody else had a similar experience, right? And what you learned from that, how you evolved through that, and what has unfolded in your life ever since, right?
Yeah.
And so that was meeting number 5. And the last meeting that we have, we'll present our insights, what we learned. We'll practice telling the story, because that's this other aspect to this program, that it's more than just your experience. You going out, connecting with another person, and giving that other person an experience. Hey, there's somebody who actually wants to listen to me. That's beautiful, and that's, thumbs up, well done, right? But if we could actually tell our stories in the Mighty Network to the other people in Farmers Footprint, we could create a YouTube video, somebody create some art, now there's a chance that all of this that we've learned have a ripple effect in the world. So this is what, to me, is really important, that we have that opportunity of expressing this.
Yeah.
in ways
Yes.
so other people could find, hey, something's going on. It's giving people a chance to reflect as well.
Mm, that sounds wonderful.
So that was the whole program. So put quite densely.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what do you hear going on here? Any questions or something? What speaks to you?
Well, I would have a lot of questions about the actual experience. I mean, I'm very curious.
Mhm.
Who would be in the, in the group, and what kind of exchange would take place. I mean, it's very intriguing.
Mhm.
Um,
And I can tell you, we don't know who is going to be in the group because we have had
right?
19 years old and 70 years old at the same time.
Yeah.
And we have had musicians and artists and engineers at the same time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
very diverse group.
I really like the notion of bringing art and creativity as part of the communication and expression, because when we get into these topics that we care about, we can just stay in our head,
Mhm.
our ideas, and want to present our ideas in
Mhm.
even a verbal or even an argumentative way, and that's much more open.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's up to everybody. Some people would like to write, right,
Uh-huh.
and tell their story in writing. Uh,
Yeah.
and other people, the easy way is simply to create a video like this.
Hmm.
Um, and for others, they are very good at expressing themselves through art
Yes.
and music, and so there's not really a telling of how it's going to go.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that if we start to express that, something's going to happen.
Hmm.
And this, let's say, a songwriting project that would turn into a whole thing, a big thing.
Yeah.
And so that's the next part that we hope people will take away from this is, when we are in these spaces and we connect with other people and we get these ideas and, how to go about it, right?
Hmm.
Whether we are talking about creating a community garden or a CSA or a song, you know, um, I think that it's fair to say we need some support to
Oh,
get
yeah.
to get this momentum for what to do next, right?
I'm
And so
sure. Yes.
this is a space where people from all over the world can connect and collaborate and support you in whatever dream you have. And so
Hmm.
this is the idea of why we encourage people to hang around, join the
Yeah.
Friendly Friday, uh, expand or broaden these connections with other people from this program. And then we have a specific program where, if let's say you have a specific project, you like to have a community garden,
Uh-huh.
but how to go about it, and we'll connect you with people who have had those experiences before, and
Hmm.
again create a group of people that's directed towards creating something in this world and
Yes.
tapping into that experience of other people and find that support. And maybe it's just an accountability body that's needed. you know
Hmm.
could be that simple, and but then we'll make things happen, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's nice.
So just to give some perspective on, participating in this actually opens up a lot of possibility for what could unfold afterwards.
That's great.
Mhm.
Sounds great, Henrik.
So any other comments or ideas or something that's in your space about this that you would like to share?
Um, I have a question about the Friendly Friday. Are you
Mhm.
going to, and you know, how that happens. How often does that happen?
Every Friday.
Every Friday.
Every
Yeah.
Friday we meet,
Yeah.
and the time is changing a little bit according to time zones all over the world. So sometimes it'll be early and sometimes it'll be late.
Uh-huh.
And it's a space simply for people to connect and share what's in their world.
Mhm.
You get to connect with one other person or for 15 minutes and deepen
Right.
those connections.
Mhm.
But you can show up once a month or whenever you have time,
Mm.
and use that space, you know, to, you know, just have a space for breathing, you know, just
Mm.
let let out, you know, whatever frustration is there, and let's
Yeah.
celebrate whatever friction is going on, and
Yeah.
just that space, you know, when you can speak more openly, you know, and it's a closed experience environment for those who are in this program, so it's like, say, safe to just ventilate whatever is going on. And,
Mm.
and usually there'll be so many nice people in that space that, you know, it's people feel really energy going up and leave inspired with new ideas and some energy for how to continue.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, so hope to see you around. You're
Yeah.
most welcome, and
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you for participating.
Yeah. Yeah.